Who gave us the right to decide whether or not another sovereign nation has the same kinds of weapons which we do? Who gave us that right? I am not defending the Iranian regime, the Iranian government. People love that fucking word, regime. What if some other country on this planet decided that they don't like our regime? We elected a convicted felon, a man who was described by a federal judge as having committed rape, who is sending this country into an autocratic theocracy and is unleashing his bullshit against all of our allies, against at this point in June of 2025, I think our only two allies are Israel and El Salvador. And Israel is completely dependent upon us for weapons for the war that they are conducting against women and children inside the Gaza Strip with their man-made drought that some people don't want to, identify who is the cause for that man-made drought. Who are we, with the leadership that we elected last November? The leadership that we elected last November, what gives us any moral position anywhere else on this planet to determine what kind of government any other country has, what kind of weapons any other country has, when we have just elected just as shitty a government as any other country on this planet, and we already have those same kinds of weapons at our disposal? Who gave us that right? And again, I'm not defending the Iranian government or the Iranian regime. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, young women who removed their headscarves in public in Iran were being beaten to death by the Iranian government. The only thing that this Iranian government seems to have perfected is the oppression of its own people. And that is exactly what our regime in this country in June of 2025 wants to do to us. This president is unwilling to put active duty U.S. military boots on the ground in Iran to fight Iranians, but he has put active duty U.S. military boots on the ground inside of Los Angeles to fight other Americans. Who the fuck made us some kind of moral authority over other countries to decide what kinds of governments they're permitted to have in our view? That is some really strong colonialism kind of bullshit going on there. And we get to decide what kinds of weapons other countries who are actively being bombed right now, we get to decide what kinds of weapons those countries are permitted to have when they are under attack by our one of two current allies that we still have on this planet. An ally that has just spent 21 months slaughtering women and children inside their own country. You're going to tell me that we have some kind of moral authority because we have the stars and stripes. Never mind the fact that there are people, a significant number of people, millions of people who voted for our current president who still fly the Confederate flag. An objectively, overtly treasonous flag. A flag that represents trying to eradicate the government we have today. But we have moral authority. That's what you're telling me? The No New Wars crowd who flipped almost as hard and fast as Donald Trump did to, yes, new wars. Let's start another war in the Middle East because the last two worked out so goddamn star-spangled awesome. That's patriotism now. That's patriotism. Going to war in the Middle East against a country that did not attack us, poses no immediate threat to us, on behalf of another country who started a war against that country, knowing that when they did it, they didn't have what they needed in order to finish it. And the only hope that they had to finish it was if we got involved. And the leader of that country, who's a psychopathic, malignant narcissist, knows how to manipulate the president of our country, who's also a psychopathic, malignant narcissist, but that one's just a little bit smarter and knows how to manipulate this one's narcissism and ego to join the war that he started, knowing that he couldn't finish it without us. And somehow that gives us moral authority to tell these guys what kind of government they're permitted to have and what kinds of weapons they're permitted to have, as long as we say it's okay. And if we don't, even though they're under attack from these guys relentlessly, an alleged ceasefire came into existence today. How do I know that? Because Donald Trump posted it on Truth Social. He didn't post a copy of a signed document. A ceasefire is a contract. Contracts are in paper form. Contracts have terms listed in them. And at the very end, contracts are signed by all of the parties to the contract. Did we see that document from Donald Trump? No, we did not. He posted on Truth Social that there was a ceasefire. And within an hour or two, Israel lobbed a fuck ton more missiles into Tehran, into residential areas populated by civilians. Not nuclear scientists, not soldiers, not people who worked in their nuclear labs, civilians. And Iran denied any knowledge of any ceasefire. And Israel clearly demonstrated that they don't believe they're bound by any ceasefire. So who the fuck is involved in this ceasefire? Don, Fat Nixon, Pervert Hoover, Groper Cleveland, Mango Mussolini, Tangerine Tits. Who are the parties to this elusive ceasefire of which you speak? Who gave us, with the leadership that we just elected in November, the moral authority to say what kinds of governments other countries are permitted to have and what kinds of weapons they're permitted to have? What if there's another sovereign nation on the United States who dislikes our government and our weapons? Aren't they now permitted to bomb the fuck out of us because they don't like the government that we elected? They don't like the weapons that we have? Why is there any difference? Because Jesus loves the United States and the NFL? We are a nation of absolute fucking morons. We are a nation of fucking morons. And we think we're the smartest people in the room, and we think God is on our side. He wasn't on the side of altar boys, but, that's a story for another day. If kids got raped at Denny's as often as they did at church, it would be illegal to take them to Denny's. You know I'm right. Who gave us the authority and the moral authority to make these decisions for other countries? And to not have other countries make those decisions for us? I'll wait.